She walked up to the royal guard, ripped his hat off, and with a smug grin, tossed it to the ground. The crowd froze. Someone whispered, "Has she completely lost it?" But when the guard took his first step forward, it became clear she had just signed her own fate. And this is where things get really interesting. Let me paint you a picture. It was a classic London day, the kind tourists dream about. Crowds jammed together in front of Buckingham Palace, snapping photos of the iconic royal guards like they were some rare zoo exhibit. The guards, standing stiff as statues in their uniforms, always had this unshakable vibe. Dignified, untouchable, and let's face it, kinda intimidating. But of course, there's always that one person who thinks the world revolves around them. Enter Karen. Karen, the walking stereotype of "it's my right to do whatever I want," stood out like a neon sign in a sea of muted Londoners. Platinum blonde hair, oversized sunglasses, because, she's too important for the sun, and a voice that could cut through steel. She was loud, brash, and on some kind of personal mission to assert dominance over centuries of British tradition. She zeroed in on one of the guards, a young black man named Harry, 27 years old and proud to wear that uniform. Harry had trained hard for this role, and he wore the responsibility like a badge of honor. To him, standing there wasn't just a job, it was representing history. But Karen? She didn't see history. She saw a chance to make a scene. "Seriously, are you a robot or what?" Karen barked, stepping closer than anyone else dared. "Say something. You're just going to stand there like that? Do they program you to ignore people?" Harry, like the professional he was, didn't flinch. Not a blink, not a twitch. The man was unshakable. But Karen? Oh, Karen wasn't the type to let things go. She puffed up her chest like she was about to fight a boss battle in a video game. "Oh, come on!" she yelled, waving her hands dramatically, ensuring every tourist within a mile could hear her. "Is this all you do? Stand there looking like a wax figure? What a joke." People in the crowd exchanged nervous glances. Some muttered under their breath. Others pulled out their phones, sensing that things were about to go sideways. Karen, meanwhile, was in full performance mode, like this was her personal stage. And then she did the unthinkable. With a quick lunge forward, Karen snatched the iconic bearskin hat right off Harry's head. That's right, this woman took the hat. Gasps erupted from the crowd like a ripple in a pond. Phones shot up as people scrambled to capture this mess for social media. Someone shouted, "She's crazy! That's the Queen's property!" But Karen wasn't done. Oh no, she wasn't satisfied with just holding the hat. She held it up like she'd just won the Super Bowl and then, in the ultimate power move, dropped it to the ground. With a grin that could curdle milk, she stomped on the hat with her pointed heel. "What now, huh? You still not going to say anything?" Karen crowed, hands on her hips, daring Harry to react. The crowd froze. Even the kids who'd been whining about ice cream earlier went dead silent. Harry, though? Harry stayed calm, but there was something different in the air now. Slowly, deliberately, he turned his head to look at Karen. His expression was ice cold, the kind of look that says, "You don't want to know what's coming next." Karen, oblivious to the storm she'd just kicked up, smirked like she'd won. But the crowd knew better. Phones stayed pointed and a quiet murmur spread among the onlookers. Whatever was about to happen next, it was clear that Karen had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Let me tell you, what happened next was straight out of an action movie. One second, Karen was standing there, smirking like she just won the lottery, and the next, boom. Harry moved so fast it felt like time skipped a frame. Before Karen could even process what was happening, Harry grabbed her arm midair, twisted it behind her back with precision, and brought her down like he was flipping a pancake. "Excuse me?" Karen shrieked, her voice going up 3 octaves. "You can't do this to me. I'm an American citizen." Harry didn't even flinch. With the calmness of someone who'd seen this kind of nonsense before, he gently but firmly pressed her face to the cobblestone ground. "You have defaced royal property and initiated an attack on a member of the guard," Harry said, his voice steady and unbothered. "Please remain still." Now, you'd think this would have been the moment for Karen to stop digging her own grave. But nope, She wriggled and kicked like a toddler having a meltdown in a grocery store. The crowd, though, oh, they were eating this up. Cheers erupted from every direction, and someone yelled, "That's what she gets!" Another voice chimed in, "Finally, some justice!" Karen was not having it. "This is abuse. I demand you let me go right now. You're going to regret this," she howled, still squirming. But Harry? Man, he was as solid as a statue, holding her down like she was nothing more than a stubborn suitcase. Phones were out, recording every second of this glorious mess. People were narrating in real time like it was a live stream. "Look at this guy," one man laughed, pointing at Harry. "He's handling her like a pro." Someone else added, "This is better than Netflix." Just when you thought things couldn't get more dramatic, two police officers made their way through the crowd. They exchanged glances, clearly trying to process what they were walking into. One of them, a tall guy with a no-nonsense look, stepped forward. "Excuse me, sir," he said to Harry, nodding respectfully. "What's going on here?" Harry stood up, releasing Karen but keeping an authoritative stance as he gestured toward the flattened bearskin hat on the ground. This individual forcibly removed royal property and engaged in disruptive behavior. I've detained her until further notice. The officer raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. "Well done," he said, pulling a pair of handcuffs from his belt. Turning to Karen, he added, "Ma'am, I'm afraid you're under arrest." Karen's jaw dropped. "What? You can't arrest me. I'm a tourist. I was just having some fun. These hats are ridiculous anyway." She tried to wiggle free as they cuffed her, but it was useless. "Right," the second officer said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "I'm sure your lawyer will love hearing all about your fun. Let's go." The crowd erupted into laughter. Some were clapping, others shouting things like, "Bye, Karen," and "That's what happens when you mess with tradition." Karen, still fuming, was marched through the throng of tourists, her face turning a deeper shade of red with every step. Meanwhile, Harry bent down, picked up the iconic bearskin hat, and brushed it off with care. The crowd, now fully invested in this real-life drama, started cheering like they were at a football game. Harry adjusted the hat back onto his head, his expression calm and professional, as though none of this had even fazed him. The show wasn't over yet. As Karen disappeared into the distance with the officers, someone in the crowd shouted, "Harry for Prime Minister!" The laughter that followed was so loud it could have been heard all the way in Parliament. By the time the commotion died down, Harry was back in his spot, standing tall and unshaken. For him, it was just another day on the job. But for the rest of us, it was the kind of chaos you tell your friends about for years. And let's not forget the internet. Within hours, videos of the incident flooded every platform with hashtags like "Your Karen Gets Served" and "Yar's Royal Justice" trending worldwide. But Harry? He didn't care about the viral fame. He just stood there, as stoic as ever, embodying the quiet dignity of the guard. What would you have done in Harry's place? Share your thoughts in the comments. Ever seen or experienced something similar? Let's discuss. If this story resonated with you, give it a like, share it, and remember, it's about spreading awareness and making the world a kinder, more respectful place. Your opinion matters.